From the very first moment, Emily stood alone in the quiet evening light, clutching the divorce papers her husband left behind. She felt the world collapsing around her, yet something inside whispered that this heartbreak would not be the end of her story. It would be the beginning of something far more beautiful. And though she could not see it yet, destiny had already set something extraordinary in motion. Because within those first fragile minutes, after being abandoned for something she had no control over, her barren womb and her broken heart trembling in her chest, life was leading her toward a love she never imagined existed. A love built not on perfection, but on compassion, responsibility, and the gentle strength of a man who had been hurting quietly in his own world for far too long. And that man was Daniel Hayes, a single dad, raising 5 children all on his own after losing his wife. 3 years earlier, a man who carried exhaustion in his shoulders but warmth in his eyes. A man who believed the world had already taken enough from him until the day he met Emily on the trembling wooden bridge outside town, where she stood crying softly to herself. And he, on his weekly walk with the children, stopped without thinking, offering a simple, "Are you all right?" which somehow felt like the first safe moment Emily had experienced in months. And as the children curiously circled around her, the youngest, little Chloe, held Emily's hand innocently and asked, "Do you need a friend?" A question so pure it melted a layer of grief in her heart that even time had failed to soften. And Daniel, seeing how gently Emily knelt to speak to the child, felt something inside him shift, something warm and deeply familiar, as if life had placed this stranger in his path for a reason. From that day forward, their lives began to intertwine, not through romance or intention, but through small, steady moments. Emily helping Daniel with grocery bags when she saw him struggling, Daniel fixing the broken lock on her door without being asked, Emily joining the children for homework sessions and story nights, and Daniel noticing how every room seemed brighter when she was in it, her presence softer than sunrise, and her kindness deeper than anything he had known. And soon the children began asking when Miss Emily would visit again, tugging Daniel's sleeve with hopeful eyes, while inside her own heart, Emily felt something she hadn't felt in years: purpose, belonging, and the overwhelming realization that motherhood was never limited to biology, that love created families too. And as weeks turned into months, Daniel found himself watching Emily with a quiet awe, seeing how she listened to his kids with patience, how she comforted them during storms, how she laughed with them over burnt pancakes and messy art projects, and how her eyes softened whenever she looked at him, not with pity, not with fear, but with a calm trust he had not earned from anyone in a long time. And one evening, an evening wrapped in golden sunset, Daniel asked her a question that made her breath catch in her chest. "Emily, would you consider being a part of our family? Not because the kids need you, but because I do." And her heart, which had been abandoned, bruised, labeled incomplete, suddenly felt more whole than it ever had. Because here was a man choosing her not for children she could not give, but for the love she naturally carried, the gentleness that healed without effort, the strength she did not know she possessed until she needed it. Tears fell silently as she whispered, "I thought I was empty, but your family showed me I'm not." And Daniel, with the soft sincerity of a man who had learned the value of second chances through pain, held her hands and said, "You were never empty, Emily, just waiting for the right hearts to fill." And that night, surrounded by 5 excited children cheering around them, Emily stepped into a family that embraced her fully, a family that did not see her scars as flaws, but as proof of her courage. And Daniel, once a lonely single dad, found not just a partner, but a woman who brought peace into their home like sunlight through open windows. In the end, Emily understood that rejection had not defined her. Motherhood was not limited to biology, and love was not measured by what she could or could not give, but by the warmth she shared, the comfort she brought, and the family she helped heal. And with a heart finally at rest, she stepped into a life where she was not just accepted, she was cherished, exactly as she was, and their home once heavy with silence, now overflowed with laughter, healing, and a love strong enough to carry them all gently into the future.